In this slide, I will be discussing the positive versus normative economics. Positive economics is an objective study wherein it focuses on what is really happening in the economy and explains the cause and effect. The positive statement is testable because it relies on facts, data, and evidence. Um, Example of positive economics is raising land taxes increases government revenue. On the other hand, normative economics is a subjective study that focuses on what should happen in the economy. The, the normative statement cannot be tested because it was based on people opinions, values, and judgments which reflect if unsay gituohan nila nga fair o desirable. And ang example sa normative economics kay the government should raise land taxes. Next, measuring the economy. It is important that we measure the economy for us to understand how well a country is performing economically. Ang way sa economists on measuring the activities is by looking if giun sa paggamit ang mga resources such as labor, land, and capital para makaproduce og goods and services. Makita ang overall health and growth sa economy through the inputs and outputs of the production. And ang one major way sa to measure is through GNP. So, ang GNP or the Gross National Product is the total value of all final goods and services which is produced by the resources owned by a country within a specific time period. Also, appeal sad ang production sa citizens o companies whether the production happened domestically or abroad, as long as ang resources kay sakop gihapon sa bansa or sakop siya sa bansa. For example, part sa part sa Philippines GNP ang profits nga na-earned sa Filipino-owned company nga which nag-operate or kanang didto ga-operate sa sa another country. And that would be all in this slide.
The expenditure approach to measuring GNP or gross national product gi-calculate ang mga total value sa tanan goods and services nga gi-produce sa mga countries residents, regardless kung asa sila nakalocated. By looking at how these final products are used, final goods and services here refers to items that human na ang tanan necessary processing and are ready for their intended end use. So, we don't count intermediate goods like sa mga raw materials nga gamiton to make other products to avoid double counting. By adding up the spending on these final items, such as consumption by households, investment by businesses, government spending, and net exports, makuha na to ang total GNP, giving a clear picture of the economy's overall output based on end-use activity. These are components of GNP's expenditure approach. C is household and government consumption, encompassing fully processed final goods and services for immediate use. Household consumptions include daily items like foods, clothing, utilities, and services, which is the healthcare, education. And government consumption is nag-cover sila sa mga public services like schools, maintain roads, and public healthcare. No intermediate materials are counted para ma-avoid ang kanang double counting. The I is represents for investment. Ang mga items set aside para sa future use na nag-includes og capital goods like machinery and buildings for productions, raw materials inventories, and even intermediate products, which are treated as final here because they remain unused within the measurement period. Ang stocks items are counted as investments since they are not consumed immediately but reserved to support future economic activity. The stands for Government Expenditure on Goods and Services. Mauni ang nag-cover sa government spending sa mga physical goods and services, including na ang payment for labor like salaries of public workers and related purchases such as office supplies or equipment for public agencies. Exports, mauni ang goods and services na gihimo within the country and sold to buyers in other nations, contributing to the domestic economy's output. The M is for imports. Mauni ang goods and services na gipalit nato sa lain countries, so they are excluded from GNP calculations because they are produced outside the domestic economy. So the equation of GNP is C plus I plus G plus the quantity of X minus M.
So, a pleasant day to you, sir. So, I am the reporter 12, Miss Conde. So, the introduction to applied economics. Applied economics explain how resources are used to produce goods and services and how their value increases during production. So, money ang mga four basic factors of production: the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So these resources help transform raw materials into finished products. So mga products nga maga-move sa one stage to production to another. Its value increases because of the contributions of these factors. So money ang mga factors nga land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, money sila ang mga way or key nga no mo increase sa mga contributions. Money because of ilang mga contributions. For example, a raw material may cost 100. After processing, it becomes an intermediate product worth 300. Finally, it turns into a finished product worth 700. So, makita na sa figure 1.3, if I'm not mistaken. So, the increase in value comes from payments to resources owners such as wages for labor, mga rent for land, interest for capital, and profit for entrepreneurs. When all these payments are added together at every stage of production, they make up the gross national product, GNP. So kaning upat, if kanang i-add ni siya together, mahimo na ni siya ang gross national product or GNP. So in conclusion, the kaning tanan products are their final value or the result of combined contributions from the basic factors of productions. So, as you can see, this is the figure 1.3, which is the value-added flow. So, ang kanikiba naman ang applied economics na pasabot kung isang pagpataas sa value sa mga products. So, samtang nagag-agi siya sa laing-laing stages sa mga production. So, first, kanang natay raw materials nga paliton, such as pananglitan 100. Sunod nga gamiton kini og labor or uban pa mga resources. Mao nang kanang naadan siya og 200 og mahimong intermediate product nga worth 300. So, as you can see in that kanang picture there. So, sa last stage, nga nanapotoy kanang na-add nga work o resources nga 400. So, mao nga nahimo final product nga worth 700. So, ang pagtaas sa value gikan sa labor, land, capital, ug entrepreneur, kay mag-i-add na siya. So, in simple terms or sa pagsabot, mataas ang mga presyo or mga prices sa product tungod sa katanang effort o resources na ginamit sa paghimo sa mga kana.
My topic is all about economics as an applied science. First, what is economics? Economics is focuses on real-world problems, aims to improve human welfare. Economics studies how people make choices. So, applied economics is about using what we learn in economics to solve real-life problems, instead of only learning theories from books. At actual data like income levels, job numbers or prices, and use economic ideas to understand what's really happening in society. For example, to study poverty, apply economics, examine wages, cost of living, and government support to figure out why some people struggle and what policies